welcome to the Waterboro Planning Board meeting of July 11th, 2012. All members are present this evening. We are short one member, Judy Carl, whose last meeting was last month, and I didn't realize that, so I would like to say thank you to Judy for her time put in at this board. It was
Many years.
her knowledge of many years, and she was an excellent member. We will miss her. And if you're listening, Judy, come back, please. So the first item on the agenda this evening is a site plan review application for Heritage Company. Mr. Wright failed to send out notices to the abutters, so that item has been scratched from the agenda this evening. He did provide 7 sets of plans to Tina that will be handed out to the board members after the meeting. Next appointment was Heritage Company, and again, they are off the agenda this evening. We will start with a relocation of a structure in the Shoreland Zone, 55 Betty Lane, map 32, lot 6. Robert Libby is presenting. Mr. Libby, if you would please.
Good evening, I'm Robert Libby. Thank you for getting me on the agenda tonight. I am here tonight representing Cindy and Tom Lamontagne. They have a cottage on 55 Betty Lane, and what the project consists of is we'll be jacking the cottage, excavating from underneath and pouring a concrete foundation underneath it and right straight back down again. Staying in the same footprint. We're not going left, right, front or back. I believe you got some paperwork in reference to moving it back in '06. A new sewage system was installed, which was in, I call it the back, other people call it the front. I call the front of a cottage that's on the lake. But anyhow, irregardless, the system was put in the back of the cottage, which limits the area in which it could be moved back. And that's basically it. We're staying in the same footprint of the cottage, and that's pretty much it.
You're just replacing the piers with a solid wall.
With a solid wall, right.
You're not changing the roof or anything?
The roof line on one portion of it, which would be the lake end of it, is a flat roof.
Yep.
This is not part of my presentation. What they want to do is take the flat portion of it and make a peak out of it. Okay? So,
That's going to be 30% expansion.
Yeah,
regulations.
Mark does that.
It looks like you have 36 feet from the building to the leach field.
correct.
So technically, you could move it back 26 feet, so you could be 10 feet from your field. Correct.
The only
Unless plumbing laws.
The only problem that would encounter would be the septic tank.
The tank is,
The tank is whatever,
Yeah, there's no dimensions to the septic
Yeah, I'm-
tank.
and I haven't, located the tank for an actual, I was basically going by this.
is that the tank that was put in 96? Are you going from the field that was put in 96?
Yes.
Okay.
And it does show that the tank, what I'm seeing, one corner of the tank is 8 feet from the dwelling.
Yeah, it looks like the tank is on, if you're standing on the road looking at the building, it looks like the tank is on the left-hand side.
Correct, right. But with the rest of the setbacks in relationship to where these tubes are, which is the leach field area itself, and the tank, we're only, the corner of the outside row of the tubes is 8 feet from Betty Lane, and that's all.
What's the board's pleasure? Do you have any questions?
I've got a few questions. How much, when you do this, how much foundation is going to be left exposed?
We still talking with the owners. The grade in the, I call it the back of this cottage.
Which is the water side?
Pardon?
The back would be the water side or the
I'm
roadside?
calling the back the roadside.
Roadside, okay.
Okay? Right now, it's real close to the ground. So I have suggested to the homeowners that they go a minimum of a foot. They're looking at 18 to 20 inches.
And on the lakeside, how much foundation would be exposed?
It is going to be a drop foundation
Yeah,
to the front, so it would be what I call a daylight.
daylight basement. So
Yes.
it could be a living area downstairs.
I have no idea what their intent is as far as that. I don't know.
What's your finish type from the finished floor in your basement to the underside of your joists?
I think I mentioned that. Well, no, actually, I didn't mention that. I put in the elevations of high water. So what the current elevation is now to the cottage, we would be going, I'm going to recommend to them 20 inches. That's where I'm at. And then that way there, we can have a comfortable slope with no windows. There'll be no basement windows on that end of the cottage. And then we can get a good slope away from the foundation for 4 or 5 feet to maintain the surface runoff away from the building.
I would think that if you're going to do a daylight on one side and within 20 feet you're picking up enough to get a daylight, there's a heck of a slope there. I mean, that's going to be going down pretty quick.
For clarification, Shoreland zoning allows a once-in-a-lifetime expansion of these cottages of no more than 30%. I'm going through the records, and I found in '06, they've done some expansions. So if he's putting a daylight basement into it, they're limited to what they can add for...
Basements don't count towards the expansion.
If it turns from a basement to a living space, it does
We
count.
went through that. The Patty said that doesn't.
I
Okay.
understand we have a new code officer,
All right.
and 30% expansion if it goes from a living
Would
space.
it be unreasonable to ask to do a
Yeah,
sidewalk?
from a non-basement to a walk-in basement, that turns
I
to
think
living
we should do a
space.
sidewalk.
As long as that's over 7'4", that meets, code.
Those are gonna be Mark's issues,
See, if
but
They've already done some.
they've done some expansions. They've expanded a deck on the roof, and they expanded an attached deck, so their square footage on a 542 square foot cottage in the beginning is gonna be very limited to what they can do. So we're basically determining if we can, greatest practical extent for the foundation. If it's where it sits is the greatest practical extent from the high water mark.
I'm not sure, being the newest member on the board, I'm not really sure, but I look at this, and from being a builder, he's closer than 100 feet to 2 wells on the property, which is unusual. It's got a lot of slope on the site. I just think we should look at it. And maybe even,
No, I think it's a site walk anyways, right?
yeah, okay, get
Yeah,
a
I mean, that's-
sidewalk to look at it, and public hearing probably to make sure nobody's having issues with well water or anything like that out there before we start doing any changes on it.
As Mike says.
It also looks like if you moved it back, you'd lose your daylight basement.
So we want to schedule a sidewalk?
Yeah,
Sure.
you lose it, walk.
Are we all in favor of sidewalk?
Yes.
When do you want to do it?
Because there's gonna be issues when you're digging that out, where you're gonna put the tractors and move the dirt.
Yeah, and Mark hasn't been out there
Erosion
to
control,
do
yeah.
the site walk for us to give us, I talked to him earlier, he hadn't been out to see it, so
Yeah.
we can't pick his brain for it this evening.
Can we,
And I'm not saying by any means that I'm against you doing this.
No,
I'm
no,
just-
but if I could just make a couple of comments on what I've heard. First of all, in reference to the material that will be excavated from underneath, I plan on loading every bit of it.
To a truck.
And removing it from the site, because I don't think the material is going to be that good for backfill, okay?
Good.
So that will be gone. The other thing, this isn't a steep slope, and your site walk will show that. But the floor right now, if you will, if you're at the cottage, is roughly somewhere's the 5-foot range, okay? So I always recommend doing many of these, that when you have that kind of a slope, rather than come around the water side with an 8-foot high concrete wall, you start on the sides and you drop 6,
Yep.
4,
Yep.
and then when you get to the front.
It looks a lot better.
Exactly, rather than have 8 feet of concrete and you're gonna have 5 feet of it exposed, 6 feet of it exposed. So this is why I'm guilty of it. I recommended the daylight basement.
And I'm not saying that's.
No,
I'm
and it's
saying
not,
that's
it's not a
problem.
bad idea. I mean, we all
Right.
agree that that's the way to go probably, but that becomes an issue with you and, or the owners and the code officer as to expansion
Right.
regulations. And we're here just to determine if the cottage can come up and go back down, if it needs to come up and go over and out towards Betty Lane,
Betty, right.
towards Betty Lane. That's all we're here to determine.
And it's hard to make that decision sitting here, looking at a plan,
Sure.
without seeing the grade.
Sure,
and
take
how
time to do
tight
the
things
site
are and
work.
stuff.
When do you guys want to do the site work?
Pretty wide open.
All on the
for me.
same day.
There's a meeting scheduled for the 18th, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in Boston on that day picking up family.
Try and tell us not gonna be there.
I can't be there and be
Okay,
here.
just checking.
Yes.
18th is a Saturday.
18th of July is a Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wednesday. Yeah.
I'm starting to think ahead.
During Romney time.
Yeah.
It's a week from today.
So you'll be, if all 4 of you can be here, you can run and have the meeting, but
Okay.
But I can't, maybe I don't need to be there, I don't, but I can't be there on the 18th.
Okay.
okay.
I think it'd be good for him to be there.
That'd
Yeah.
be good for you to be. When would you like to have?
I'd like to be, if I could.
When can you be there, Miss Libby?
Anytime
Exactly.
after the,
A week from Saturday, whatever that is.
So that would be.
After the 14th? Or,
20.
No, following Saturday.
oh, after the 21st?
Yeah.
yes,
Make it for the 25th.
You want to do it the 25th?
Sure.
That's a Wednesday?
July.
evenings are fine, I don't know how that works
So
for you
you
guys.
look good to me.
A Wednesday evening?
That's all I
Does that
got.
work for you guys?
You got it.
Yes.
So we'll schedule it for the 25th. What time works for everybody?
Anything's good for me.
I'll probably come in from the water side.
You're gonna come by boat? I'm
Hey,
gonna
hey,
meet
wait a
you.
minute, we'll
I'm
tell
gonna
them
meet
come
you
with
where?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Think it's up there.
yeah.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock? 7 o'clock? Is that good for you?
Yes.
That gets you, lets you have dinner and come out?
Yep.
back this way? Okay. 7 PM on the 25th.
7 PM on the 25th, okay?
We'll meet you at the cottage, at the
Okay.
site.
What's
All
the
right.
address? 55.
55 Betty Lane. That's it.
Everybody knows where that is?
We'll find it.
You'll find it.
All right, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a good night.
All right, see
Thanks.
you then.
Oh, this is a little better. Next on the agenda is an informational item for 56 Ridgeway Circle, map 43, lot 848, Thomas Bryant. Mr. Bryant,
Good evening, gentlemen.
good evening.
Good evening.
I have some blown-up maps here that I'd like to give a copy to everyone. Yeah, if that's okay, may I approach the...
I got the official folder.
How you doing, sir? First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on the agenda tonight and, addressing my concerns. Thank you very much. What I'm concerned, what the long and short of this issue is that currently, and it doesn't show a correct mapping, I was unable to get something exactly where my domicile is. Okay, but what I want to do is put a carport on the left side of my house if you're looking at it from Ridgeway Circle. And currently, I do not meet the necessary setbacks according to the town. What I would like to do, and I've already approached my neighbor about it, I have enough room between the domiciles. We have about almost 70 feet there. And I want to buy like a 5 or maybe even a 10-foot strip of land off of him, which would, essentially, this is a non-conforming lot. It's less than 20,000 square feet. But this could potentially make it conforming. And the other concern is that he has a double lot. He has 846 and 847. So he's more than conforming
So
currently.
he's a conforming lot.
Yes,
When was your house constructed?
89. It was a foreclosure home. I don't know the exact date or whatever. And I've already gone through Lake Arrowhead. They have no concerns with it. I also approached the Saco River Corridor Commission, and they said that they have no concerns about it. They said what it really all boils down to is you gentlemen.
How close to the sideline are you now?
How close am I? I measure that I have about 30 to 31 feet. I want to put on a 16-foot carport, which I could put on 10 currently, just not going to cut it. I want to do 16.
And how close, at the end of that carport would be attached to the building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, also, I was speaking with the code enforcement officer. He wanted me to push this with you guys because he'd much rather have it that way. I mean, because otherwise, what am I going to do? I'm going to put up a temporary garage, which is not going to be temporary. It's going to be permanent.
So why couldn't we just do a conditional use and reduce the setback?
What's the
Because we can't,
subdivision?
that's a variance.
The variance.
Oh,
You gotta prove
sorry.
hardship.
I'll have to go to the zone. That would be one option, is to go to the zoning board of appeals for a variance. If you want to do a revision to a site plan review, I mean, that's going to be very costly.
Well, see, what I was told by Mark, and it's Mark, right?
Mark,
Code
right.
enforcement officer. What I was told is that basically the only way they grant variances is if it would render the land useless.
That's,
And currently, it is very much useful. There's a home.
right. That would be part of the criteria. I mean, that's one of the options, and as I said, if you choose to go the revision to a subdivision plan, that means hiring a survey and doing the whole subdivision.
But he still wouldn't meet the setback.
That
He
whole
still
list.
wouldn't meet the setbacks, he'd still need the variance, because his carport would be within 35 feet of the sideline, even if he acquired it, so he'd still need to get,
He's sitting 35 feet now from the sideline. From
This
the
put
is
it
an
on
arrowhead,
16
right?
feet, and how much are you
Excuse me?
acquiring?
This is an arrowhead?
From a
Yes, it
plot
is.
plan from 89, I'm looking at that the house was placed 35 feet from the property line.
He's saying it's 31.
Okay, well,
I mean-
it may be 35.
Okay.
And
That's-
you know,
But you're
that
putting
works in my
60
favor. That's
How
not
much
bad.
property are you acquiring off the gentleman?
Right now, currently, what I mapped out in that line that you see is a 5-foot strip.
Yeah, see, so it's still 5,
1,000
so
square
30,
feet.
31, plus
And it's a
16.
VR, what's the setback?
Minus 16, 35. Is
The
it 20 now?
setback's a 20, 20,
Yeah, it's 20 feet.
20.
I thought it was 35 still,
No.
okay.
No, it's 20
20.
feet.
It's a VR zone.
So you have enough.
It would be tight. I mean, if he needed to buy 8 feet or 10 feet, I
Well,
mean,
you
you would
know,
see that with the survey.
That's what I'm here to determine, is once I came back with the information, and of course, I didn't spend any money on this, I didn't want to, you know, because if you guys were just gonna send me out of here, it wasn't worth me investing any time or money into. But I would come back here armed with, you know, legal representation or whatever, you know, whatever you see fit. And a site plan done by a surveyor and whatnot, just to find out exactly what I need to meet the criteria, and then I'll come back here and you guys will be armed with all the information
Yeah,
necessary.
Tina can give you the information required for a subdivision review, which means essentially you need to hire a surveyor, have your properties and these properties surveyed, determine where your line's going to be, submit it. It's a review process with a public hearing, and it's a matter of, it would be all here in this office. It can be costly. I don't know what it would be, and I know what Arrowhead, because I was looking at the records, and actually it's my signature on all the permits in 89. Arrowhead is a nightmare at the best, so I'm not sure if they could
It's a
go in and
complete
just do
pain
a
in the butt.
one-lot subdivision, you know what I mean? But you're welcome to go that route. I don't think we would turn it down if you had everything was in a
What if
row.
you acquired a perpetual easement over the property?
A what?
Instead of acquiring the property, just
Mm-hmm.
acquiring the easement over the property.
That becomes a legal issue. I've never seen it done that way.
You know, I was also told about that little jig-jagged thing where I could buy 5 feet off of him, I could sell 5 feet of him back. But I really didn't want to do it that way.
Well, he has a
I
double
figured
lot.
this was more,
The saving grace is he's got a double lot.
Yes.
Your only fortune is he has a double lot, and he can afford to give you X number of square feet and not impinge on his lot sizes at this point.
And you said he's willing to sell you a strip.
he already said so, yes. Yes, he's very much willing to do so. In fact, he told me, quote, he says, I could really use the money. So,
Under the hardship variance, it isn't an issue that he caused, because he got the property afterwards. So he didn't cause
He
the
wouldn't
issue.
pass a hardship, would it?
I mean, he could try.
It was
It'd
in
be cheaper
for-
than
it-
doing
this
subdivision.
place was
I'm
in
not
foreclosure
sure
for
how
over
this
10
planning board
years.
is. I mean,
How the zoning
back,
board,
I am.
back in '89, I would have said it was probably a cakewalk, and you probably could have walked through with it. I haven't followed what they've done.
If it was
in the
for a
past.
house, it might have been one story,
Yeah.
another story, but for accessory
Mm,
structure,
yeah,
probably
so.
not.
But they can best tell you how the ZBA works than we can, 'cause I'm not sure.
Okay,
What
so,
do you have a right of way between you and the recreation area? Is that a 10-foot right of way, one of the green belt easements?
you know, that's sort of a fuzzy thing. I really don't know. What I have is a tree line.
Yeah.
A lot of woods. And I can see that tennis court from my home, but it's not, it's not clearly visible. And, kids go in there and they ride their bicycles inside of there all the time. And all I'll basically hear is just a little bit of an undercry of children, playing out there. And that's about it. But there's a good buffer zone in between there.
But that green belt that goes through,
Yeah.
That's all woods. That's all woods.
Yeah, they didn't develop any walking paths or anything else.
Yeah.
It's all on paper, all those green belts out there.
Right,
The one in
now,
the front, on the side, and the one on the back side is probably all just on paper.
now 842, as it goes out to Sunset Circle,
yeah,
that is a trail. That's a trail right there. But what divides my property line and the ones on Sunset Circle, that's just woods.
just
through
that
there.
little strip.
So I think this was laid out in such a manner that they wanted to create like these nature paths or whatever, but I don't, it just hasn't worked out that way.
And the layout was for a summer residence zone, pretty,
Is that what it was supposed to be?
yeah, that's,
Okay.
when it,
Well, I don't
when
think-
it was developed, it was for summer.
Well, they won't be
Summer
getting a lot of
use only.
summer residents up there, I don't think.
Obviously,
Except for the whole board.
You've looked at all the other possibilities,
In regards to what,
how
sir?
to situate your carport. You looked at all your other options.
I looked at the other side of the house, quite frankly. That's what I really looked at. But currently, my septic and my leach field sits over there. And cost-wise, I do have a plan to move it right over where it's currently at the driveway, but it's gonna be a lot of money, and probably more than it's worth to me to invest into, especially when I plan on selling the home eventually.
Could you put the carport to the back of the house?
Maybe change your driveway, looking at the cost of changing the subdivision, to change your driveway, it might be an idea to look at different options.
Yeah, well, the back of the house currently,
I know you can't cut trees.
yeah,
Indiscriminate.
and that's gonna be a big
Cut if you
issue
get a
right
building
there.
permit, you can cut 'em.
That's gonna be a big issue right there, because
No, if you have a
trying
building-
to cut trees up
If you
there
have
is
a
like
building-
pulling.
If you have a building permit, you can cut within 25 feet
Feet.
of the footprint of the building. So they get a building permit, and you can cut all those trees you want.
That's not what the Saco River Quarry Commission
Yeah,
Oh, you're
it's also
so-
the
so-
river corridor.
sorry
I was thinking Lake Arrowhead. Okay.
Sorry to, fly in
Yeah.
your face with that one, but
No, it's not covered.
they wanna know everything.
Yeah.
And I've crossed all the Ts, I've dotted every one of the Is, I've done everything to make things pleasing for them. And I've come down here with paperwork that they told me to
So
file
just
with the
doing
town, and the town looked at me like, we don't even care.
Yeah, it's like overlapping.
if
Yes.
you were to put the carport on the right-hand side, you said it's too close to the septic, your septic has to be 20 feet from the building.
Yes, and it currently is 20 feet. from the
Okay,
building.
so 16 feet wouldn't get you up to the septic, and you're not putting a foundation. So that would be fine, wouldn't it?
They're gonna get there, though.
Yeah, but I'd have to drive over the leach field.
You're gonna drive, okay, so the leach field
Leach
is-
field is right there, and what I'm being told by the excavating company and the paving companies
Can't drive.
is that they could do like a chamber system, but they said, is there a good chance that it could probably end up being a low-quality job, something that could cause problems later on, and the probability of that was rather high. What they said was the best plan based on, and this is Peter Pinkham that I was talking about, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a pretty straight shooter when it comes to that. And he came over there, he looked at all the possibilities. He actually mapped out the property line on the Arrowhead side, or on the recreational area side. And he came back and he gave me dual plans. He gave me the plan, and that was from, I forget who the soils engineer was, the guy at Gorham. But I have a brand new one, and sorry, I just didn't bother to bring it. I didn't think it really mattered. But he was telling me, he says, the best way to have this and to do it right and the least cost out of your pocket is to do it where it currently is. And I figured that I could probably get away with that because I already had the septic tank moved just last summer, and I had the leach field expanded just last summer to accommodate for that. And now it would be, you know, there's like an 8x12 section that I want to build onto the front of the house, and so I wouldn't have to do anything with the leach field. I could currently do it. It's already ready for that.
Yep.
Any other question? I guess my feeling is if you go and do all the legwork and get all the paperwork that we need for a revision to a site plan, to a subdivision plan.
Okay, so you're not talking about a variance here. You're talking about.
No, if you're coming back to us, you have to go and hire a surveyor and go through all the subdivision revision.
Okay, so what do you want? You just want a surveyor's report, and
No,
that's
it's
it?
actually thinking, you have the paperwork for a subdivision?
He'd have to start
It'll
at
start
the
from-
final phase of
Yeah.
the checklist. I can get him a copy of the checklist.
Yeah, there's a whole checklist. You're gonna have
And
to
I don't know
have,
how you do that when it's many lot subdivision and you're only looking at those two.
it's gonna be a revision of those,
2 lots.
of the, actually those 2 lots, which would be 846, 847, and 848, because 846 and 47
So you
is
can
one
split
lot.
it out like that.
They would
Well,
have
actually, you know what?
and then,
Are they actually joined? Because they don't have the.
I was gonna say,
They might just be
I
separate.
looked on Trio and they're shown as 2 separate lots.
Yeah.
are they under the same ownership?
Mhm.
Yes, they're-
Exactly the same ownership?
yes.
But I
And-
think that they're both conforming lots, that's why they didn't get joined together.
And the other one does, the 846 does not have a home on it. It's only
Right.
847.
Right.
It has a house on it,
What-
the other one does.
But if they were both substandard lots and they were bought under the same ownership,
They'd be
exactly the
joined
same
together.
9, it would be under the law, they would be joined together.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Unless
Glad
they
I worked
checkerboard.
there.
that's why they checkerboard everything here.
Tim, would his lot have to be conforming to do this, to make a change like that?
You would have to make it more conforming, correct?
More conforming or
More
conforming?
conforming.
Okay, so not only the minimum footage that I need to add the carport, but to get it over 20,000 square feet.
You would have to make it more conforming. I don't believe you would have to, and that's gonna be Mark's call, but my call would have been, if you're not 20,000, if you're 19.8, great, but if you could buy it to be 20,000, better for you. As long as you're not making it less conforming.
No, that's definitely not happening here. All right, so I guess I'll touch base with her.
Yeah, Tina or Mark, sit down with Mark and go through the subdivision plan.
So I need to come in at a later date, not tonight?
He's not here.
Oh, he's not, yeah, okay, so I need to come back.
Oh, you're only a little over 18,000.
You know, it's really hard telling because it's not really a, you know, a perfect square or a perfect rectangle that we're talking about.
18,805.
What I did was
Like Arrowhead.
what I did was an average. I did every one of the angles and then averaged them out. And what I came to was approximately about 17,800 feet.
My suggestion is hire a surveyor that's familiar with Lake Arrowhead.
Yep, I've got a guy from Springvale. That's
Jim Nettle?
Excuse me?
Is it Jim Nettle? Make sure they're familiar with Arrowhead because there are pins out there, then there are more pins.
Right.
Especially with the green belt.
With the green,
Pins on
yeah, so
the
you
side
want
of
to
the
make
green
sure
belt,
that they
make
know
sure it's the right one.
their lines really well there. Just
Okay.
from experience out there.
Okay. So invest the money in the surveyor's report and come back and show it to you at a later date.
It's gonna be a
You'll see
regular
a
subdivision plan.
checklist.
It's gonna be a survey.
I get the checklist from
You'd have to
Tina,
do
so you know what you're.
Sidewalk.
Yeah, you should
Mm.
sit down with
Hearing
Mark
the whole
before
nine
you
yards.
And when they get into that process, yeah, it's gonna
What,
be.
what did you say?
I think you're gonna end up having to do site walk, public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the whole process. Essentially, you're coming through like a new subdivision.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, I will do that. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
That's all we have on the agenda for this evening for appointments. Officers' reports. No old business. The communication we have is that Tom is out of town. Any new business? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion.
No, I got some.
You've got some?
I've got some, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Andy.
I could. We had, I guess to fill the board in, I guess there was a joint meeting with the selectmen, and I guess there was a miscommunication as to when that was, because a lot of the board members weren't there. I mean, you guys.
I wasn't, yeah.
So I want to kind of fill in what happened, because the selectmen came to the meeting. It was actually a little embarrassing, because there's only 3 members of the planning board there. But the general consensus, I think, from the selectmen was that they'd like to have something kept in place, even if it was simplified, something kept in place to keep control. I think that's what the general consensus of their opinion was, to work on something and keep something in place
They wanted to keep-
versus getting rid of the ordinance altogether. The attorney was here. She reiterated everything that Tom Mercer had said about, wasn't sure about this and wasn't sure about that, and this is legal, and we can't do this, and we can't do that. And basically, she's just erring on the side of caution. I think in our discussion, it was, should we put in the ordinance that you could give them every month or every quarter? You know, and she said, there's nothing in the ordinance that says we can't do it, but there's nothing in the ordinance that says we can. There's nothing in the law that says we can't. There's nothing in the law that says we can't.
Okay.
So she says, you know, it's up to us. I think the selectmen were more on something more like on a quarterly basis type of thing. So that was one item that I wanted to discuss. Another item was the performance bond. I guess on January 17th, or January 19th, had a public hearing with the selectmen. And I guess we never heard back. As far as I know, I don't think anyone on the board knows where we stand with the performance bond stuff that we had put together back then. So we've, because I know that we put a lot of effort into the performance bond, sent it off to the selectmen, and we haven't heard back. I know they had a public hearing. I'm not even sure of the results of the public hearing. I'm not sure if you remember or not.
I do. The problem is, it's not an excuse, but things just they go away.
Well, that's why I'm
And
bringing it
nobody
back.
keeps track of it, unfortunately. So I'll bring it up again.
Okay. Should we address the selectmen in the letter?
Yeah, we'll pull them together.
So that's never been adopted then?
No,
No.
nothing.
I just
It's
was
died.
moving along happily thinking it was all.
No,
Yeah,
no,
so
it's
No,
died.
this on,
All right.
It's
So
died.
you talk to applicants about
And the
it.
sorry thing about it is that, you know, we put a lot of time into it.
We did.
If we wait 9 months, we're gonna start the whole ball all over again. So while we have it on a roll, we ought to get it done. I'd like to see, you know, something.
No, I appreciate this. I know.
We'll draft the letter and get it out to them.
Okay.
I'd like to make an agenda change to our agendas. When I went to the 2020 committee, I found they had something on their agenda that I think would be helpful to this board if we started doing that. And on the bottom of their agenda on the 2020 Master Committee, they have upcoming meetings. So they actually have everything laid out for the future meetings and future information like they have here. July 6th is the Selectmen's meeting, presentation, the second presentation. August 13th is the regular meeting. August 6th is Selectmen's meeting, contract approval, this, and they have like what's coming up in the future. I think there's been some miscommunications here on this board as far as like the joint meeting with the Selectmen. Some members didn't know about it. I guess we did a site walk last week.
Yeah.
I thought it was this week. Tim thought it was this week.
I thought it was
Yeah.
before this meeting tonight.
Yes, that's what I thought. So I went tonight, and Tim went tonight, and I guess
Dave was.
Dave went
Dave,
tonight.
I talked to
I
Tina,
think
and I
you
said,
and Judy
Tina
went
said,
last
I
week.
told them not to go.
Judy, I went last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so we haven't really done,
That's why I
really,
didn't go at all.
We
But see,
can
I
do
think-
something like
I
that.
wasn't at that meeting, but I think what happened was, it was said that the sidewalk would be before the next meeting. And
yes.
some people took that to mean
And
the
being a joint
sidewalk
meeting
was
with the
before
selectmen.
the next workshop, and the other half took it to
Yeah, I
mean
thought that
the
was
sidewalk
still
was
coming.
before
I
the
didn't
next
realize
meeting.
it was.
I don't move.
What I'm getting at is if we had this on our agenda,
That was
in writing, then we would have known what day it was scheduled, because it would be in writing.
Mhm.
So I would ask if the board agrees that if we put something to keep, when we commit to a date, like we know already we're gonna have this site walk that we just scheduled on the 25th. So the next agenda, if we're meeting before the 25th for any reason, it would be on there. The next meeting is gonna be the 25th. Anything that we've committed to in the future, always keep it at the bottom of our agenda, and we would know.
We can do
Does
that.
that make sense?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Plus, the other thing that would help too is when we have to report out to the selectmen. Because that always ends up being a scramble in the last minute, who's gonna go, but if we know ahead of time.
So I just thought it was pretty nice. He's an agenda, in the bottom, he has the same thing we have, the exact same thing, but at the bottom, upcoming meetings. You can just pass this down. if you
I've seen,
want.
I got it on my,
Yeah,
The selectmen's agenda is that way too.
yeah, I kind of thought that was.
Plus,
pretty
that way
good.
we know too, like if we have something scheduled for the next meeting or not, so we're not always looking at you to go, what's up?
And I guess lastly, sorry to have so much stuff here, Tim and I attended the 2020 comp meeting.
okay.
I'm not sure if Tim wants to tell them what transpired down there. I bring
Well,
a booklet,
actually-
and I think everybody from the planning board should actually get a copy of this.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really pretty nifty what they've gone through. I like the concept, I like the plan, fire chief's gonna have a fit.
Good.
You know, and so I've given some input, so I actually looked this over 3 or 4 times, I've read it page to page several times, so you guys can share that one. But everybody should try to get a copy of that
I
from
can
Tom.
probably scan that and email it to everybody.
Why don't you contact them and ask them if they could get us 7 copies?
I have asked Tom to get us copies.
All the time.
Okay.
I
I'll
haven't-
ask Tina to do it. I think the
haven't.
likelihood of her doing it is much more.
Lastly, or was that lastly? Not lastly. Judy quit, supposedly. I talked
Well,
to
Judy was not up for reappointment, was up for reappointment.
Right,
She
she's-
chose not to
She chose not to re-opt.
Yeah.
re-up, correct.
I think part of her reason for, well, her reason, when I asked her point blank, why did you not re-opt? Part of it is lack of information at the meeting in advance. She'd like to be able to digest the information. I brought this up before, that we gotta have information in front of us. I'm not sure how we can get, I don't like seeing any more than she likes seeing last minute information. I mean, I like to be able to digest my information. When I'm gonna go to a meeting, I think it's fair to the applicant that anything the applicant submits, we should see before we get to a meeting.
I agree. And
At least 24 hours. So can we adopt something as a board, that if the appropriate party doesn't get it to us, we don't review it at that meeting? We table it till the next meeting because we haven't seen it.
Well, I
okay.
think we ought to do that anyway.
I think
Well, I think-
there's a mechanism in place that if the applicants don't have their paperwork in time by date X, they're not on the agenda.
Yes.
The
That is a week
The
before the
problem
meeting.
comes into play where the material is in and the staff doesn't review it until the day before the meeting and get the paperwork out. And the staff has been asked on a number of occasions, publicly and privately, to have it out for us in 2 weeks. How they get it out, or how they choose to get it out, is what they,
And what I'm
They're
getting
doing-
at, I know this from being on the board for a year, and it's still happening.
I
And I don't think it's
understand
fair
that.
to the applicant. I don't think, we gotta raise hell about it, because I wanna see the stuff before I get to a meeting.
Yes, we do, and we have, but unfortunately, we do not control staff.
Then the only,
It's up to the.
So how do we handle
It's
that?
up to the Board of Selectmen to hear our pleas on a regular basis, that staff do their job in a timely fashion for us. And how they address it as a Board of Selectmen is beyond our scope.
Does the board know it? I mean,
Yes.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, we,
We're
several
always fighting
times,
for information.
on several occasions, the board has been told.
Let's go again.
I think it's more effective to.
Should we submit that in a letter?
Just getting the information table to the next week. I think that's the only way to push the issue.
I think
The
that-
problem with that is that it punishes the applicant.
Yeah,
The
Heard
applicant, the
I
applicant will
agree,
raise
but
hell.
I-
The
I
applicant will
think-
raise
But the
hell.
other side
Okay.
doesn't seem to be working.
I understand what you're saying, and I think that's a discussion that I can have with the Board of Selectmen as a employee, staff type of thing. I don't think it's gonna be a
I mean,
public.
all of us wanna do what's fair to the applicant, and it's hard to come in if we haven't seen the information ahead of time.
I agree. And I've had that discussion today with the staff members that were present here.
Okay.
Exactly. that same discussion. It's frustrating to us. Before we, I'm not going
It
to.
is.
I'm just going to leave it.
I totally agree with you, because we have, that happens to Sutton all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, last night I got there, and I had no friggin' idea what they were gonna be talking about. And it's hard to make decisions,
Well, I'll just for a moment,
yeah.
and I myself, I've been on both sides. I wasn't the applicant. I was the guy coming in that says, you're not gonna be on that meeting next Friday unless you have your stuff in this Friday. So I had to have all my stuff in on a Friday before the meeting. I never for a second thought that the stuff wasn't being presented to the board till the night that I got there. But I'm being sitting on the board now, I know the board wasn't even seeing this stuff till the night of the meeting. It's like, how can they digest all this information? It's just not possible.
And it's not like things are so busy, like back in the early 2000s, that we can't keep up with it. I mean, things are pretty quiet.
I didn't know how it worked. I mean, it couldn't have always been this way.
It has been pretty much all this way. And actually, years ago, when I first got on this board this time around,
When
we,
Dwayne Warren was there.
yeah, when we used to actually get the plans and sit
Yep.
and review the plans here while the applicant stood there and looked at us, I would go ballistic.
We
because
ended at
I-
11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so that's the way it's worked. We since have had a couple of planners, and one of, I mean, they've been good. Unfortunately, this planner just isn't getting the work. I don't know if he's doing other jobs
To
for the
me,
selectmen.
I was trying to think of mechanisms we could enact or ways that we could do it, that everybody would have to have everything ready for the planning board or for whatever meeting on the Tuesday by noontime.
And
The day before the meeting.
The problem with enacting anything,
Yeah.
see if I can do this with a smile on my face. You've certainly got the message across more than a few times in the last year. We have no authority to enact anything. If he ain't gonna do it, he ain't gonna do it. I don't know how else to say it, you know. We have no authority.
You know,
You can write another letter to the selectmen, you can go up
Okay,
before.
I'm aware now of what you're talking
Yeah.
about, okay? But bring it up again,
We,
just another X.
was
I'm
that
done.
lastly?
I'm done. That was lastly.
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 Anybody else have any discussion?
I just have one thing. Out of that 2020 committee meeting, I was talking to Dave about it. They have vacancies, we have vacancies. I'd be glad to go on to that committee as long as they don't go back to meeting Wednesdays just before this meeting and invite someone from that committee to come on to the planning board if they want to apply and kind of intermingle, because they know where they want to go, they just don't know where to head from here.
And we've had meetings with them here, and we've extended a courtesy to open one of our meetings quarterly or whatever they want for them, and they chose not to. Or for whatever reason, it hasn't happened, and I choose not to, and I apologize if I've offended anybody, but it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good session when they were here, but as I said in the past, this is my night off. Kurt comes in from New Hampshire during the winter, during the summer months, and probably the winter as well, so it's difficult for him to get any other evenings here. And I mean, you guys all have jobs and lives outside of here. So if we could do something jointly, I don't have any objection to doing it, you know, on our quarterly meetings or a monthly meeting or whatever.
I enjoyed going to the meeting. I'm not ready to be a member of that board. I enjoyed going to the meeting. I think they talk about a lot of things. They have a lot of ideas. How you can actually implement it on 50 different landowners, I don't know.
They need more than just a quarterly meeting. They need to shape 2 or 3 key items for town meeting each year to steer towards what they want. And I think that's achievable.
We could do monthly. I mean, I don't have a problem monthly, Tim.
Yep.
They're more than welcome to come in and we could do a workshop for an hour or so after a meeting or something. We could keep a short agenda one night and do a workshop, or,
Does anyone that...
and we haven't been so busy that we can't do it.
Mm.
But they meet Mondays now, right?
Mondays.
Mondays.
What they do
Five.
Wednesdays at 6 before?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
If they went back to that, I wouldn't be able to do it, but
They're not really looking at it. I think what they're doing is by getting a planning board member there, they're trying to inform us on the vision they have for the town, which I know is what they're doing. Some of this stuff just isn't gonna fly. I mean, you can't build row housing anymore. I mean, the fire chief is gonna say you can't build 200 feet in one building, 10 feet from the road. You know, it looks nice, it's a village, but it's an issue, and They have a lot of
Especially
good
when
ideas,
cars
the
are going by
parks
at
and the
65
roads,
miles an hour.
parks and the paths and the trails and the gardens. It looks nice. But I think the people that have the circle around their property, they better know about this pretty soon, because I think that they're gonna have a real interest in, I'm in that circle where you're gonna restrict. So I'm gonna go back to the next meeting. I think Tim's going back to the next meeting,
Yes.
Is it weekly?
once a month.
On Mondays now at 5.
Five.
That's where it would help if they focused on a couple major things.
Yep. Right now, the next thing they're doing is they're trying to figure out if the town were to grow to a certain size, they're gonna try to get the funding to know how they're gonna put a massive septic system in, or where the best area in
Right.
town would be to put a septic system in. And that will help steer the growth of the town.
Yeah, that's all
I
right.
think that's something that we should know.
So like a sewer district that they're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibility of some sort of.
They don't want to do it, they don't want to do it, but if we had to do it, where would it go? Where would be the best place? So that if we know that, then we can plan around it. I asked them things about, okay, based on the village plan, how would we have done Napa differently? Right? And they basically said, you know, we just would have dressed it up in a more friendly, environmentally, tastefully designed, but not a metal building, but a wood facade, more like the bank on the corner across from Shop and Save. You know, and then I did bring up to them that, you know, okay, fine, if we do that, are we still being business friendly? Because now we're starting to put these restrictions on.
Especially Freeport's
It's
in.
a fine line
Which
between.
means Napa may have said, no problem, I can go to Lyman. So-
Or,
Exactly,
or you
exactly.
give them tax incentives as a trade-off or something like that.
You know, so there's a lot of things where I see where they're putting a lot of time, a lot of effort into this, and it does overlap into us big time, because if they can expect us to do it, like
We
I'm
have
not
to
saying I
find
want
out.
to push Napa a little bit differently, but I'm not gonna push Napa away from Waterboro.
Wasn't there a time that the planning board had proposed design standards and it?
I was
Shut
just
down.
gonna say that, well, we
Yeah.
made big changes. I mean, we changed requirements for green spaces, setbacks for parking lots, because it looked like we were gonna have one parking lot continuously down the whole street, just like Wyndham.
Mhm.
And we made big changes.
But it didn't pass, right?
A lot of them did, but the trouble was we piled too much on at one time.
Yeah.
And that's why I say we pick 2 or 3 important things and just get public support and go to town meeting.
I think all the people on that committee are very zoned in on what they're trying to accomplish and feel very strongly about it. And I think they've done a great job. Of course, it's done by a school, Conley
Right.
Landscape Design, so you're gonna see there's about 15 million trees. I don't know how many $1 million that come out to put all the trees there. But there's some things that I've seen in some towns, like another thing that they talked about was how you handle roads. I think this was partly at the first meeting and the second meeting about parking alongside the street. Encourage cars to park alongside the street versus behind the building, because it gives you more village sense. But a lot of the towns that have parking alongside the street don't really want the cars there, they want them behind.
Those ones about snow removal.
Snow removal, widening the road, curb cuts, and there was something mentioned about the state would not have control on curb cuts. I thought the state had
It's like
control.
Tim said, you just gotta pick one or two.
Yeah, the state has control.
I mean, there's
over
just
it.
so many, there's a world
All
of
state
things they're
roads,
going at all at once. I mean, it's overwhelming. I get insight from them as to what they're envisioning, and I take that back to, you know, if it works well, but I'm not gonna scare an applicant away, you know, unless it becomes the ordinance.
But if you could offer them something to dress the building up a little bit as a trade-off.
Yes.
Instead of just driving them out.
I approached them with the fact that, you know, find a certain landowner, you know, that wants to develop it a certain way, you know, and have a plan and sell that plan. I went back home and thought about it afterwards. I said, well, you can't even sell an existing building, never mind a plan that's on paper.
That's right.
So it was an idea, but it doesn't really fly. I'm done.
Like Gorham Savings, they did that design voluntarily, 100% voluntarily.
Mhm.
If that's the kind of thing you're looking for, is a building like that,
No, it's the business, the community friendly.
how can you encourage them to do that? That's a question.
Art, anything? Frank?
Are we gonna do another site walk for Mr. Wright? Or-
Yes, we should. You want to do it the same night on the 25th?
But we don't know what, has he sent out the things yet?
Nobody's going to.
He's going to send them out. It's going to be on the August 1st meeting.
So we'll just do it before the August 1st meeting?
You want to do it before the August 1st meeting?
Sidewalk at 6:30, the hearing at 7?
Okay. August 1st?
August 1st.
He's gonna send us a reminder.
At
Yep.
6:30?
Having already done one.
Well, we know where it is now.
I'm really done.
It's just up the road a little from where we were.
Oh, we weren't in the right place?
No,
Is it further
it's
up?
right on the 202, right?
Right, it's right on 202.
Yeah, it's up by Jones.
It's right across, almost by Jonesy's, almost across from
Jonesy's.
Jonesy's, Strawmill Brook.
Yeah.
Just drive till you see Vic in his truck. and that's-
This is a nice spot where we were.
Any tracks, any deer tracks out there?
That's a dog.
I saw the mountain lion tracks.
Who's going? Yeah. Nice. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Second.
Second it.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned.